All right,
All right.
everybody, welcome to the channel. I have an individual you may have heard of and may have seen on the channel already. I've asked him if he could be part of the channel because I think the last time we chatted was pretty much a year ago almost, or
Yeah.
at
That's
least 8 months, right? Um,
yeah, 8 months. Yeah, something like that.
something
Yeah.
like that, something like that. And I was just like, hey, Marv,
Yeah.
come back down. Let us know, man.
Right.
How are you doing? And so,
Yeah.
yes. What's up, Marv?
What's up, man? Yeah, no, so I really wanted to kind of work with you on this video, just to kind of, give an idea of how the latter half, of recovery is, just kind of being like really just almost completely out of it, right? Like doing better than even before, pre-panic and anxiety and all that good stuff, right? But it's just more so just to kind of give people hope, just because I know that your mentorship is really, you only have limited amount of space, and so what do you do if you can't get into the mentorship, right? And hopefully these videos can kind of the information in these videos can kind of help people that can't get in, and it's just like, since I made the first video in August, there was a lot of there's a lot more that I had to experience, I guess you can say, right? Or in August, I thought I was just like, okay, I'm responding correctly. The symptoms are going down. This is great, and but like I was saying, when we were speaking earlier, I started to get some pretty big body blows. I kind of started getting jabbed in the face, and I'm just like, whoa, what is this? Like, what is this symptom? Like, I never experienced this. This can't be anxiety, right? And and sure enough, like it all was like there was an issue where I thought it was something medically serious, and some of the test results, showed that it could be. And then 2 weeks later, I go back and everything's back to normal, right? And it's just like, your body kind of, gets back into like homeostasis, it gets back to baseline. And so like there are some elevated elements to your body and some that aren't, and everything's just kind of winding back down. But like for me, the biggest struggles for me were the intrusive thoughts and the depersonalization. That was really two of the two of the things that really made me feel like this is never going to go away. And how is it possible that I just won't care about it at some point, and how is that possible? And so like I really never, I mean, I saw everybody that recovered, and I believed you guys, but I was having a hard time believing it just because of how real it felt in the moment. And for me, it was just having this, I just had to have faith in myself that it'll go away on its own, and I had to have faith that this is not who we are, this is not how we're meant to live life, and so it didn't matter like how severe things were, how how weird the thoughts were, or how strong the DP was. I just that's one of the biggest things that kept me going was faith, in myself. I didn't I know that you know whatever your beliefs are, some people have religion, they have whatever they believe in. I decided this time that, hey, I got myself into this mess. I need to have faith in myself that I'll get myself out, that I know how to do this, and even though if I'm not conscious or aware of it, and so, sure enough, things started dying down, and I remember there was a few times where, like, just maybe like a few months ago or 3 months ago, I was laying in bed and I felt just this real deep calm, like really like I don't know, like, Eckhart Tolle type of stuff, right? Where it's just like, I feel at peace, I'm in the moment, right? And I felt that, and dude, like I had like 3 or 4 heart palpitations as I was falling asleep. And there's boom, 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 boom. And I was just like, I had this real quick awareness to kind of get scared, but then I didn't. And I said, let it be. If something happens, it happens. And it sure enough just kind of went away. Hi, sweetie. And I went to sleep, nothing happened, right? And it was just like all of these things, and that just started to come up. And that's when I realized that, for me personally at least, this is happening in stages, right? I had my first part of the stage, a second part, the third part. And it's like, when you're getting close to recovery, and I don't really want to talk about like all the steps for recovery and all that, because I found that I was gauging my process compared to what everybody else was saying. Or like, okay, I don't feel it this morning, I must be recovering. Or I don't have an intrusive thought today, I must be recovering. And guess what you're doing? You're bringing awareness again, and then all of a sudden it comes back, right? So, that was like my biggest thing, where, okay, I got to stop immersing myself in what it means to recover. I just have to have faith in myself that I am going to recover, and my process is my process. And and the whole thing is just like to give people faith in themselves that, hey, you're going to have some body blows right at the end too. I mean, what I went through with the doctor thing, I mean, I would have never ever thought that was anxiety, and sure enough it was. And it's just like, dude, are you serious?
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because I'm sure like
Yeah.
people watching are curious, like what
Right.
does that mean?
Right.
So we had a chat, you said in August, right? That sounds right. You
Right.
from the beginning on to August, you made tremendous progress. You started
Right.
getting really stable. And then
Right.
so you were like, man, things are going good.
Yeah.
Let's bring you on the channel. And so
Right.
then that happened. Now
Yeah.
from August to now, what exactly happened when you mean by body blows?
So what happened with the doctor?
I mean, in general, like, because there was a lot. I mean, you and I know there was a lot of stressors, external stressors
Yeah.
that happened.
Right.
Feel free to
Right.
chime in. I mean, obviously, however.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So, that's my baby. Yeah. So, well, I guess he's coming in at a good time, because that's when so we had an issue in January. Um, so my son was born with a few things, but nothing too serious. But he just doesn't eat. He doesn't eat through his mouth, or like properly. So the doctors were concerned about his size and things like that. So they wanted us to go to the hospital to run thorough testing, because he should have been a lot heavier and bigger and stuff like that for his age. So the morning of the day that we were going to the hospital, Children's Hospital of LA over here, I was laying in bed and I woke up and I felt like a little sharp, not even a sharp pain. I don't even know how to explain it, right? It was just something, I don't know. And I kind of like, huh, what was that? But I was so like, okay, I got to go to the hospital. I got all this stuff to do. I got this to do. I got to get this worked out. And, so I just kind of chalked it up to like, hey, maybe I got indigestion, or, something funky going on. Sorry. Oh, sorry, Sean. We're gonna have to edit that. All right, dude.
No, don't worry. This is good. At least there's
Okay.
people that say that, I'm not
Yeah.
joking, Mark. There's people that say that these videos, these are fake,
Yeah.
not like a real person.
Oh, well, then you can leave it in.
Person.
Because I think he knew I was talking about. He came running over so excited. I was like, oh, can you grab him? Can you grab him? And then he did a face first plant.
Oh, really?
No, but yeah, so I just kind of figured like, maybe I got indigestion, or just something. So so we were in the hospital for 2 weeks, but it never went away. So like when I would kind of like have gas, I would feel it. I would just be like, you know what? Okay, this hasn't gone away for a few days. So when I get out of the hospital, I'm going to make an appointment for myself. So I went and made an appointment, and the doctor's touching and feeling and all that stuff. And he's all like, well, if it was a gallbladder, you would feel this, right? Or if it was this, you would feel this. Oh, okay. And you would feel this, you would feel all that. And he's all like, well, but you're not, there's nothing here to show me that. There's nothing swollen or anything. So I was like, okay. So he said, I'm going to order some blood tests for you. And I was like, all right, whatever, that's fine. And so I went, got the blood work done, and then they called me in. And then the guy told me, he goes, oh, this is elevated. This is elevated. You might have cancer. We want to make sure, go get an ultrasound. I'm like, cancer? I said, what do you mean cancer? Like, where? How? And he's all like, very, just, I just didn't like the way he, you don't tell somebody, and those were his exact words. And he got up and walked out of the room. And I'm like, okay, all right, well, I'm going to run with this and see what happens now. But I went and got the blood work done. And I mean, it was the anxiety level, just, it just, the health anxiety. I started feeling my heart again. I started feeling just little pains, just little like spasms, and I'm like, oh my God, this is serious, like, because I could feel it all. And got them, went in for an ultrasound, and they said, well, we found a little thing on your liver. We want to get this investigated more. And I'm like, oh dude, what? So then I started looking into what the liver does. And then I saw how important of a role the liver plays for your whole body, and how it controls cortisol, and I mean, everything goes through it, right? So ultimately, to make a long story short, I went to USC. I spoke to the GI doctors over there, and they did all their thorough testing. And she said, well, all your blood work, they took 10 vials of blood out, dude. And they said, okay, all your blood work is actually really good. And she said that things have improved so much, just from 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, okay. So I was just like, okay, so wow, this is anxiety, but because I got resensitized that way with the health anxiety, it took a little while for it to start winding down. There was this big sense of relief and all of that, but just these little things, and then, but during that time, because I got resensitized again, it was like, you know what? Maybe I got something else. Maybe it's developed into something else because I had anxiety so severely for so long, right? Or maybe my adrenals are taxed and it's wreaking havoc in my system. Or maybe my heart is hurt because it's pumping so much. And again, everything was fine, right? And so it kind of just went back to normal. But yeah, I mean, it's funny, as I'm talking, my son is making the most noise in the background right now. Like, he knows, like, hey, daddy's talking about me, right? So he's so funny. But I mean, that's kind of what happened, man. I just got really stressed out again, life stressors. And it didn't take much for my nerves to get resensitized again. But the difference was, this time I knew exactly, well, I did fall down the rabbit hole a little bit again, to be completely honest. And it wasn't until I got that clean bill of slate again. But this time I did have the tools, because I recognized the thinking. I recognized how my mind started racing. So I'm just like, okay, well, that aspect of what's happening right now is anxiety, right? It's anxiety. But I knew that what was happening here, I knew that it wasn't something serious all along, because if I thought about it, then I felt something.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't like I'm just walking around and all of a sudden I have this really strong, sharp pain. I'm like, oh my God, it wasn't that. It was, if I put my awareness on it, then I thought about it. Then I would feel something. So that's how I knew. It was just like, hey, you know what? This is anxiety. This is not anything to be worried about. But again, like you always say, and like it's true, you got to get a clean bill of health from the doctors, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, man.
So let's describe what happened. You were sensitized when you and I first met. You
Yeah.
desensitized. Now you had
Yeah.
a stressor that would stress anybody out.
Right.
This would stress
Right.
anybody out. And so what happened was, Maruf, you were a lot better. You were a
Yeah.
lot better.
Right.
But you still weren't fully out enough, where in the
Yeah.
sense that when you got sensitized, you got resensitized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now what happens is that now you came out of that. Now
Right.
you just need more time.
Right.
As you need more time,
Yeah.
had this happened a couple of years later, you would have
Yeah.
bounced back a lot quicker. So your nervous system will get more resilient.
You're right. Right.
But what was the awesome part, and you and I were, I mean, you and I chatted a bit, but
Right.
you did bring yourself out of it.
Right.
I really didn't help you too much. I mean, I helped you. Like,
Yeah.
you and I chatted about it, and there was obvious
Right. Right.
similarities with your story and mine that we
Right.
chatted about.
Right.
But you managed to really do it on your own. It wasn't like you were back in, you fell back in,
Yeah.
started doing
Yeah.
it, which was
Right.
awesome, which is amazing.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's because I knew where that goes, and I knew that it wasn't any truth to it. There wasn't anything real about it. So I knew that, hey, I'm creating all of this right now, and there's this such a deep level of understanding that comes along with experiencing something like senses, getting sensitized and coming back out of it. And and I know that you had mentioned in the group and on videos that you become a better person. What's that meant for me is that as I've come out of it, and as I continue to come out of it, it's a work in progress, right? Because I start to see like a lot of the habits that I used to have, right? A lot of the thinking that I used to have that wasn't benefiting me as a person. But if it wasn't for anxiety, I would have just kept on going, And it was just like anxiety is such a blessing because it shows you what needs to be worked on. And you may not like the way that it shows you, but if it doesn't show you this way, you would never do it. You know what I'm saying? Like you would never do it. Like why would anybody else want to do this kind of self-work? And because like like I tell a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but like when I try to explain to family and stuff like that, I said I have no choice, I have to. And they're just like, what do you mean? Just don't think about it. I'm just like, no, it doesn't work that way for me now. And it's just like you come out of it, and it's really amazing because once this part of your mind, once the anxiety, the anxious part of your mind, that fight or flight center part of your mind is like fully knows that, okay, it doesn't matter what I throw at this guy, he's not responding in fear anymore. No matter what situation happens on the outside, he's not responding in fear anymore. So then it just completely just starts to die down, right? And then you just start to feel like your memories start connecting again. Your feelings start connecting again, but it's a deeper, clearer than before, than even before panic, right? There's a clarity to it where you remember things clearer. I don't zone out as much as I used to. I'm more engaged, because I remember there were times like where I would just get too stressed out and I would just be like, and people are talking to me and then I'm just like, and then I got really good at listening to the last word of what they were saying. Like, yeah, I do recall that. I do recall that. So it looked like I was engaged in the conversation, but I was doing that a lot, man. But now it's just like, I'm more engaged when I'm speaking to people. I'm actually listening and my mind is not wandering, which for me is kind of crazy because when I was really during the anxiety cycle, I remember sitting in meetings with my boss and things like that. And I would just start getting the weirdest intrusive thoughts, right? And it's just like, but I can't make my face like that when I'm sitting in a meeting with my boss, right? So I'm just like, he'd be like, what, you don't like my idea? But so it's just like, but it's running in the background, but you're still able to respond. You're still able to take part in the conversations. You're still able to give ideas. And that's where you just kind of start to realize like, hey man, this is like, almost like two parts going on,
Yeah, yeah. And like, it's one of those things, the things you talk about, like most people that are watching this video feel like they can't even come out.
Right,
So
right.
you're saying, hey man, you don't even just come out, but you become better. People are like, hold on, this is like too much fairy tale nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, but no,
I mean,
Marv, you see it.
yeah, right. I mean, I don't blame people for thinking like that. I don't, man, because, but I mean, believe me or not, it just starts going down. Yeah. For me, it started going, okay, frequency started dying down. Oh my, okay. So he wants to make an appearance. Say hi, Zia. And this is the little guy right here.
Hey, buddy. Hi.
Hi. Let's say hi. Let's say hi. Oh. Okay, he's out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that, man. Yeah. No. So it was like for me, the frequency started dying down, and then and then the emotion behind the intrusive thoughts started to lessen. And then it would show up every once in a while. And because I'm a stubborn person, I would still kind of check every once in a while. Do I still have that? And then it would pop up. I'm like, and then it just turns into like a kind of like a bad memory that you don't really care about anymore. And then it just starts turning into a neutral memory. You don't forget about it. It's still there, but you've kind of come out of that, and so it just doesn't even matter anymore, and it's like, it's the same thing with the DP, right? And it's like, for me, I realized, like, again, I'm creating the DP. I'm creating it. It's just like, because I'm like, oh shoot, am I still feeling like that? I'm not feeling like that. Oh, this is great. All of a sudden, whoop, you get dizzy and you're just like, why is my hand moving? And you're just like, oh shoot, okay, well, see, it's not gone. But it's like, and that's the biggest thing, man. It's just like, you are literally creating it, but it's like a certain aspect of you. It's not like conscious, you like, all right, I'm gonna get this going, I want to get this moving, right? And it's just like, it's just that fight or flight center of yourself that's just checking to make sure that you're okay, but yeah, man.
People always ask me, they're like, dude, how could you always talk about this stuff? Like, this stuff is too traumatic. And it's kind
Right.
of like, dude, I don't really look at it like I used to. It's not like,
Right.
it's not some like, at the time it was a terrible curse that like,
Right.
I literally felt like I got a lottery of the worst luck in life.
Well,
Yeah, good.
I thought I was, there was a time there where I thought I was possessed. Okay. I thought there was like, because I thought, okay, I'm not feeling right. Everything looks so weird. These thoughts, these are evil thoughts. There's something else inside of me, right? There's something else inside of me. So I went on, I went on that for a little while. And I laugh about it now because I'm looking back at it like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? But again, it's just all created by me, right? And so, I mean, because your rational mind is trying to figure something out, because it's just like, because it's almost like it's disconnected from what you're experiencing. Rationally, you can't rationalize it because it's so strong and you're feeling all this stuff, right? But yeah, I mean, that's how my experience has been, man. And then like, once all that stuff, you start getting neutral to the memories, then you're like, for me at least, then all the body stuff starts just kind of settling down. And then all of the things that you really enjoyed, like, I'm looking at cars again. Like, I want to get a Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat. That's my thing, right? That's I want to get that, and that's like my goal. And and it's just like, but like a year ago, dude, there's like no way. Hi. There's like no way that I could have even like imagined that. I say hi. Okay, you're out of here again. Okay. He just wants to check up.
Yeah.
But there's like no way that I couldn't even look past waking up to taking a shower, right? Because I was so like, I don't feel right. I can't do this anymore. Like, how am I going to look forward to the day? Let alone, God, I got to go to work for 8 hours and then come back and get to work, have a panic attack. Look at your emails, they have another panic attack. And you're just like, forget everything else. Like, I just want to kind of be in my body, right? And be myself, So it's kind of like, so now it's just like, I'm looking forward to doing things, and there's a connection to it, and I want to do it. And like, all your joys start coming back, like, working out again, and just taking care of myself, which it's been a little bit difficult to do with the pandemic, with the gyms and everything, and I'll admit, like, when I started going back to the gym again, like, there was some people aren't wearing a mask, and and you're kind of touching all the equipment, you kind of have to be like, oh, what's going on. But honestly, it's just like, it's all good, man. Like, everything comes back, and like, you're able to do things at a much better level, just because you don't have that fear behind it anymore. Right. You don't have it anymore, and you can kind of do it. So
yeah, you brought up like this point about like how you're creating this yourself.
Yeah.
That's yeah. It's one of those things, I've always found, as somebody who's guiding people,
right,
you have to take them step by step to get to that.
Right.
You can't tell them that right away. Imagine if you were
No.
to join Maruf. See, you're
Yeah.
at a stage now where you're
Right.
at such a different stage
Right.
than you were even in the beginning when I first met you. Where I'm like, Maruf, you're doing this to yourself. You'd be like,
Right.
dude, this guy. He thinks
Yeah.
I'm
No, I'd
doing
be
this
like,
to myself. He thinks I
right.
enjoy doing this.
Right.
And
Right.
you're
Like, where's the breathing techniques, dude? You're not telling me to meditate. Like, what's happening here, man? Like,
like,
what
what
do you
am
mean
I
I'm doing it
doing?
to myself? Yeah.
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 What am I doing? Like, how do I
Right.
stop? Like, what? I'm not doing anything. It's just happening to me.
Right.
But you see,
Right.
as you get deeper, you see
Yeah.
like elements of it.
Yeah.
But this is very like, this is step by step stuff. So you're
Yeah.
you're very far ahead.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just like, it was funny because all I wanted to do was get back to my old self.
Yeah.
But as you start, working on yourself and doing all the stuff that you teach in the mentorship and in your videos, and you read your clear weeks and all that stuff, as you start kind of calming down, you start to see things that's like, man, I need to I need to kind of look at this, right?
Yeah.
So, and it's gonna sound weird right now, right, Shaan? So I kind of miss being really sensitized, because I was able to look at all of the stuff that really serves me no purpose, right? And it was just like, it would come up. But now it's just like, you know what? It doesn't really matter. If I want to work on it, then I'll work on it. You know what I mean? And it's just like, to kind of come out of it completely. You do realize that, hey, man, I was doing this to myself.
Mhm.
But there's this deeper love that you get for yourself, because you see that there was a nurturing type of element to it, because you're doing it to yourself because you're trying to get completely into yourself, and there was a lot of like side things that I got distracted with. It's just like, well, maybe it's OCD, well, maybe it's PTSD, or maybe it's this, or maybe it's that, and it very well could be, right? But I've learned in my own experience that the way to get out of it's all the same. Is there's different names. And as you start coming out of it even more, and you start actually looking into things, being present and is a really unique thing. And it's a really unique thing. You don't need money for it. You don't need nothing for it. You just when you're just there and within yourself, it's pretty cool, man. And it's just like, what I didn't realize was, I'm just like, Eckhart Tolle was a big one that I was always reading, but I just couldn't really vibe with what he was saying. I couldn't connect with what he was saying. And I was just like, if you ever heard his story, right? It's just like one night, he just kind of had this deep thing, and he's just like, and then he woke up in the morning. He was like, I was waiting for that, dude. I was just like, why can't I have that, right? Just wake up in the morning and just completely give in and all that stuff. But I started to realize that I am present, but it's just my state of being right now. And all this stuff is coming in. So I'm present, just witnessing what's happening. And it's just like, once you start getting out of that fight or flight mode, once your nerves start desensitizing a little bit, you start to have this whole new love for life. Honestly, because I mean, Shaan, like, how many people have you spoken to that you've helped through, and the group has helped through, that's recovered, that are just they're doing stuff now, right? Like things that they were scared to do before, like things that they talked about, like, hey, I'd like to do this at some point.
Yeah.
But they never were motivated enough to go ahead and do it, So
all the time.
Yeah.
I had somebody in the mentorship just mail me something.
Right.
One of the things he always wanted to do was start an e-com business.
Right.
Started the business. He mailed me this stuff. These cute, like awesome coconut bowls. I have it here. He mailed it to me as a gift. But
Nice,
everyone
dude.
now, but see, like it
Right.
was kind of what you said, kind of
Right.
what we spoke about offline a little bit, which was like
Right.
you start realizing what's more important to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
More.
Yeah.
And one thing I learned very quickly, very young,
Right.
because of anxiety, money doesn't make you happy.
Right.
Sure as hell doesn't.
Right.
Nothing else matters if you don't have the peace of mind.
Right.
If your own intelligence is working against you, that's it. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do. You live in the most comfortable mansion in the world. You're going
Right.
through anxiety, it's going to be hell for you. You'll never
Yeah.
remember that. And so
Right.
I always remember that. I was like, no, that's important to me.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just like the one of the other things that I've kind of started to realize is that if you're doing what you truly love, all right, and going through anxiety kind of makes you realize what you truly love. You kind of don't have to worry about money.
You don't.
Because you'll be the best at what you're doing, right? And so
you'll give value, and money follows value.
Right, exactly. And yeah, I mean, that's probably like some bigger stuff, right? But it's like then you start learning later on, and just how wonderful of a thing it is. And I know that there's people watching right now be like, what the hell is this guy talking about, right? Because I mean, if you watch my first Zoom call with the group, and dude, I kept on scratching my head, I kept on touching my face, it's taking deep breaths. Like, I remember I was kind of sweaty, and I'm just like, okay, after this call, I joined. These guys are anxiety professionals. I'm gonna feel better. As soon as I get off the call, 5 minutes later, I'm just like, oh, man, it's like, dude, this is just horrible. Like, what is happening? So there is no, I mean, and there could be. I remember there was one video that you posted where the woman, she had recovered in like 2 weeks, right?
That was an
anomaly, right?
I told her in the video, I'm like, you are an anomaly.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yeah.
And she was like, okay.
And
and I knew that. I was like, man, this is lightning speed. This doesn't typically
dude.
happen. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, but for the most part, practicing what you teach, I remember one of the biggest things was, it's just like, man, if I keep on repeating this over and over, like practicing awareness and all that stuff, right? The aware is just like, am I going to go crazy? Because this is all that's going to be in my head, right? How many times a day do I have to do this? For me personally, literally thousands. When I was at the most highest level of being sensitized, right? It was just I had to keep on doing it over and over. And I remember there was a call that we had. I remember this. This was pre-pandemic. I was driving to Red Robin's at a mall over here, and I was on the call. And this is how crazy it was, because I used to have the call on the phone, playing with the family, driving, and I just had to listen to you guys. I had to watch, take part. I just had to. And I remember Cesar saying something, as far as the depersonalization, just being like, you just gotta go with it. You can't fight it anymore. And at that time, I was really, really, really deep in DP. You know what I mean? And I just hearing that and just being like, okay, whatever happens, happens. I'm just gonna let it go. And it just slowly just started going away. You know what I mean? It took a while. Oh, here's another one. Hi. Sorry, man. I tried to fit in some time.
It's fine, man. It's cool. They're cute. I don't mind.
Yeah, thanks, man. But yeah, I mean, it's like all these things, and and I see it in the group, and like there has been a few people that have reached out after I made the first video, and I kind of talked about it, and it's just like it's hard. It is hard. It's a very tough thing to go through, and that's why it's always cool to have somebody that you can kind of talk to and kind of like, I mean, hell, assurance seeking sometimes, right? I mean, there's like, hey, is this is this real? Like, what is this? Like, are you sure this is anxiety? But then if it gets to like the third or fourth time, like, dude, I already told you, yes, it is. Come on, man, you got to believe me, or you know what I mean? But yeah, no, man, it's been cool, man. And I'm just telling you, Shaan, it's like, I just feel so much more present, and everything is just it's just dying down. I don't know. There's no other explanation to it. There's just, I remember it. Yeah, I do. But I'm so much more engaged and focused in life that it's just kind of like, if somebody wants to talk about it, I'll talk about it. But now it's just like, I don't even want to talk about it anymore, really, because telling my story now, it doesn't hold the same weight. It's weird. I used to take like this kind of pride in telling how I got into this cycle. Right. And sometimes I'd feel kind of welled up. I'd feel sad. I'd feel even guilty. There was a lot of guilt during the process too. I don't know, a lot of guilt and shame, Yeah. I mean, you just feel bad. You're just like, man, look what I'm doing to my family. Look what I'm doing to myself. God, look what I'm doing to my coworker. Like, I can't work properly. I can't be engaged with the family properly. I can't do this. I can't do that. And it's just like, you know, and that's all normal. You know, there's nothing to beat ourselves up about. You know, it's just that stage of like recovery, man. You know, it's like you just go through it. You know, oh. You know, but it's like the guilt and shame thing was big for me, man. It really was.
Yeah, and I was same thing, man. It was like,
Right.
look, you feel like a burden to society.
Right.
How can you
Yeah.
not be mad about that?
Yeah.
But you're not a burden.
Right. Right.
And you know, and then I always say, you know, you bring it up. People once they get better, they become beacons of hope.
They
Not
become
just
rock stars, man.
society, but dude, they do a lot of stuff, man. Like
Right.
I
Right.
see these people do some amazing work
Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
you know, you mentioned Caesar.
Right.
Caesar and I, we did that video like a month ago, and I don't know if
Right.
it's part 2 of Caesar, but even
Yeah.
Caesar, even though he was a little bit ahead of you, saying
Yeah.
the exact same thing, which was,
Right.
yo, dude, it just keeps getting better.
Right.
Yo, last
Right.
year I know I made that video.
Right.
I was doing better,
Right.
but it's gotten better. Like,
Yeah, no, it's weird. Like, I would have, how I feel now, I would have paid $50,000. I would have found a way to find the money if I could have felt like that when this all first started. You know what I mean? And be like, dude, hell no, this is not worth it, right? But I mean, you can't, you know, the experiences that you've had, and actually, dude, it's made me a better father, and it's also made me a better husband. And I know you remember there was a few times where I called you with my wife, and you know, and I was honestly, man, I wasn't sure if we were gonna make it through, man. Honestly, it was just so difficult. I just felt like, man, you're just not understanding me. You don't understand what I'm going through, and when you're highly sensitized like that, everything's about me, 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 me. I couldn't even hear what she was going through, what she felt like watching me go through this. I went from this guy that was just like 11:30 at night, hey, you want some In-N-Out? All right, cool, I'm out. I'm gonna go get it real quick, right? And now, you know, the hamburger spot over here, right? And now it's just like, oh God, I won't feel the same if I'm driving. I can't go. I feel weird, you know. And it's just like, so for her to watch me go from this guy that was like that to now kind of waiting for permission to leave the house, right? And it was just kind of weird, man. And so I didn't even hold space, but because I couldn't, you know, I just couldn't. The whole space for them, whole space for my children. Like, am I doing the right thing right now? Am I doing the right thing? Oh, maybe I should just kind of let them be and do their own thing. Now I'm just like engaged. Like my son, he likes to wrestle with me every night. That's why I kept on coming and running back and forth over here. Like, Dad, it's wrestling time, you know. But you know, it's just things like that, you know. It's just your life. It just improves in so many different ways, you know.
it's yeah. I 100% agree.
Yeah,
So
dude.
man, what a crazy life experience, right? And you know, you brought
Yeah.
up something, Maruf, that was so light years ahead, which was, you know, you kind of miss it in this. I mean, like this,
Right.
we see now we have to be very careful on what we say, because not just for the viewers, but how
Right.
we say it to ourselves. But you were forced to grow
Yeah.
in ways, and you had to prioritize what was important. Now things are
Right.
better. Now you can take the wheel, like, you know, you can take the gas off a little bit.
Right.
So now you can do things or not do things that may not be serving you, but it's okay.
Right. Yeah. 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 And that's the thing. Is just like, but you don't obsess about them anymore, if that makes sense, right? You're just like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do this. Like, okay, this is gonna make me feel better. Now it's just like, okay, I know what I need to do to get to where I want to get, but I can still be engaged in life and take advantage when I can, and take opportunities and when things show up. And it's not like this thing where just like where you wake up and you're just kind of obsessing on this thing. It's like, I need to do this. I need to do this. I need to work on this so I feel better. I need to work on this so I feel better. And it's just like, you know, as it's this thing where you're kind of forced to, like you said, you know, and it's weird. You do kind of, there is this sense of like awareness that comes with it, that I actually read, like, Buddhist monks, there's a meditation that they try to do to get to that state. They want to get to that DP state. And I remember reading that when this all started. I'm just like, are you freaking crazy? Why? You know, but I think if you have your rational mind intact, right, and you're able to, you know, then I think you can, there's some things there, right? But we don't want to get too much into that, but I think there's some
We'll
there.
talk about that stuff offline. Yeah, there's a huge element of awareness that gets developed.
Yeah. Yes.
The awareness, and sometimes I find, Maruf, people try to circumvent the awareness. I'm allowing and accepting, but they're not aware of what they're doing.
Okay, I'm glad you said that, because you can't do it.
There's no way.
You can't do it.
You have. There's no way of circumventing it. You
Right.
have to be
Right.
aware.
Right.
No way.
Yeah. No. It's just like, if you try to ignore any aspect of who you are, you're not going to.
It's not going to work.
It's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Not
You know.
gonna work. Exactly.
Right. Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, that's man, we got a lot of packed into. You know?
Good, man. I think it's great, Maruf. Maruf, is there
Right
any, I mean, anything else you want to share, man, before we wrap up?
No, I think I think it's good. Yeah, there goes my wrestling partner. He's saying it's time to go. You know, but it's, I mean, I really hope that, you know, some things that I said in here kind of resonates with people and gives people hope, and you know, and just helps them find whatever they need within themselves to you know, recover. It is possible. I don't care how deeply, just how disgusting an intrusive thought is, how wild an intrusive thought is, how wild the DPDR is, and it's just like, you have to have awareness, and you have to have faith that you're going to get out of it, you know, and you do, you know, and it's just like, again, you're the one that's doing it to yourself. You'll realize that at some point, and yeah.
I always say, you know, for the viewers listening, you know, there's some part of what Mara say that you may understand, and there may be parts that you don't. That's okay. I always find that you will only know enough for the next stage. You won't know enough
exactly
for 3 stages. But once you get to that stage, then there will be parts of what, you know, if you rewatch this this video, there'll be parts that you missed the first time that, oh, now I get what, because now you're at a different stage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like when you're sensitized, like, you'll only catch what you're looking for. So there could be a whole conversation about everything that you need to recover, but the one thing that you're looking for to kind of help ease, you'll miss it. And it's just like, it's just so funny how this works now, you know. But right.
This is what we're doing.
Right.
Maruf, man, awesome you're here. I had a great time chatting with you and catching up.
For sure, man. It's always good, man.
Yeah, you're great. I mean,
right on. Thanks, Shaan. Thanks so much, man.
Everybody, thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.
Bye, guys.